I've been feeling quite emotional today, not just because of the news coming from the US, but because of the gravity of what we are being asked to debate and vote on today. Having only been an MP for 11 months, I never in my wildest dreams thought I would be asked to make a decision like this. I'm horrified by the regulations that I'm being asked to vote for today. I'm horrified by the impact that these restrictions will have on people's lives, their mental health and their livelihoods. I'm horrified by the upward trajectory that we're seeing in infection and hospitalisation rates and the bleak projections that so many experts have presented to us. And I'm horrified that we're even being put in this position in the first place by a government that I feel has dithered and delayed when we might have had a second, shorter lockdown sooner while schools were closed for half-term to try and get the virus under control. I'm horrified that despite the warnings from the Academy of Medical Sciences that I put to the Secretary of State back in July to address the test and trace system, these warnings were not acted on. And that alongside all these draconian and damaging measures that we are being asked to support today, and indeed which I and my Liberal Democrat colleagues feel we have absolutely no option but to vote through, there is not a shred of evidence that the government is going to use this lockdown time wisely to address the deficiencies in the main weapon that we have until a vaccine comes along, which is to test, trace and isolate every case to keep people safe and to keep our economy going. We hear a lot about testing, but nothing on boosting contact tracing rates by allowing local authorities to lead the tracing as they have so effectively proved they can do, and properly supporting in both practical and financial ways those who need to self-isolate. Even the Prime Minister has finally acknowledged that the sub-20% isolation rates are a major problem. Whilst I and others on this side of the House have been making the case for these measures for some time, I'm pleased that finally Conservative members, not least the former Health Secretary and the Chair of the Select Committee, is now also making the case. So I say to the Secretary of State, if he will not listen to me and those on this side of the House, please listen to him, and for the sake of our country, for people's lives, their well-being and their jobs, please listen and act wisely during these next 4 weeks. There is no shame in changing course and learning from other countries. Finally, on evidence and data, I and my Liberal Democrat colleagues have said repeatedly since the start of the pandemic that sharing the data, the evidence and the government's workings are essential to public trust and compliance when such draconian measures are being put in place. And so I wholeheartedly endorse the comments by the former Prime Minister. I say to the government, publish the impact assessment, show us the scale of the trade-offs that are being made in terms of physical and mental health, jobs lost and damage to the economy. This is not an election campaign. Both sides of the argument must be shared openly and the evidence shared transparently so that members here, and most importantly the public, can look at the evidence and trust that we are collectively doing the right thing in the nation's interests. And in the few seconds left available to me, I would just also add my support to comments that have been made on both sides of the House about looking again at the regulations around collective acts of worship, publishing the evidence to show whether they are actually a source of infections and outbreaks, and on looking at the non-contact sports, particularly for adults, but also outdoor activities for children and young people. This is critical to people's mental health and their physical well-being.